Hey guys, I hope you're hungry. Welcome back to War Stories here on the Flintstones channel. My name is Jericho. So, this is the last War Stories of 2016, and for today's War Story, we will be wrapping up our superlatives with film superlatives. It'll be the last one for the year, last War Stories, last superlatives. Like the others, or, well, like the video game one, there are 9 categories, and, I mean, I guess it doesn't really make, like, such a big difference in the grand scheme of things, but I'm going to try to not use the term best and instead prefer the term favorite. I don't claim to be, you know, I'm a connoisseur of movies in that, you know, I regularly enjoy them. I see a lot of movies. I spend a lot of my time watching and thinking about and, you know, loving movies. But I'm no expert, so I don't claim that these movies are the best, especially since there are a ton of movies this year that I didn't see. And I don't want to make it seem like, you know, I know everything there is to know about 2016 movies. Like, at least games, like, I feel like I played most of the big PlayStation 4 games that I really wanted to. There's a lot of, like, weird frame stuff going on in this skirmish so far. So anyway, yeah, with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started, and if I say best, I mean favorite, because I haven't best on my little categories thing, so I'm sure I'll do it at least once. So my favorite art direction is how we'll start, and then, and again, sort of along with what I was just saying, like, I guess I'm going to use terms, you know, similar to like an Academy Award, you know, but I'm talking about the movie where I felt that the design of the art of the movie most aided the movie in making me like it, you know. So basically, my choice for this is Doctor Strange, and the reason for that is Doctor Strange, it of course has a lot of visual flair, like you might expect. Like just from looking at the trailers, it was never a big surprise to anybody what you were getting with Doctor Strange. How it had a very unique style, you know, very much wore it on its sleeve. You know, the comic was a child of the 70s, so there's like a lot of 60s and 70s, I should say. So a lot of, you know, what you might expect. But like even with that being so, like the trailers, while they show off a lot of cool things, and it's enough to get people interested in the movie and for the movie to do quite well. That's not the only reason. Like the game is far from like playing its whole hand. And the best thing that the movie does, and I guess I should say there might be some small plot spoilers, although this that I'm about to talk about is the biggest one in my opinion. There's a sequence towards the end of Doctor Strange where there's a fight, like there's a fight scene in forward time while the destruction around them plays in reverse, and it is just the coolest and most creative thing I've seen in a movie in a really long time. Like basically that's why this won Best Art Direction, even though there's another movie that was a big candidate for it, but that movie ends up getting so many other awards in this show that I figured I would give it to Doctor Strange when I did honestly believe it to be a very close call. So yeah, that sequence, like, to me, that made Doctor Strange worth the price of admission all by itself. This is the big, you know, like the big exciting conclusion to the movie is this crazy action sequence that really has to be seen to be believed. Really cool stuff. So our second superlative was the best surprise, or my favorite surprise, the movie that I most didn't think I would like, but ended up most liking. And that was Suicide Squad. I thought that Suicide Squad, like, I was always gonna see it. I'm gonna see a movie that has the Joker in it. You know, I'm gonna see superhero movies. I'm gonna see a movie like the first ever movie version of Harley Quinn, like, or live action movie version, I should say. Like, come on, of course. So, but I thought a lot of the trailers looked not very good. It was very, like, groan-inducing, like, so what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad? Like, come on, you know, like, very lowest common denominator humor. And then, you know, like, before I ended up seeing the movie, there was, like, of course, the critic reviews came out a little bit before, and everybody was basically saying, oh, it's terrible, it's awful, even worse you know, I don't personally think that Man of Steel was bad, but even worse than Man of Steel, says the learned critics, and I was like, oh no. But then I saw it, and I genuinely really liked it. I thought that it had a lot of heart and character. I thought there were some really good scenes, like the scene at the bar towards the end where they're all just sitting and having a drink and just like what are we gonna do? Like just thinking about their lot in life and what, like they know that they've been, you know, basically left to die and they're screwed, and like they have no reason to do the right thing, and they never had, because they're all, as the film is way too quick to remind you, they are all bad guys after all. But just decide, like, it has neat moments like Captain Boomerang, like, so Rick Flag breaks the thing so all the Suicide Squad members can run away without getting blown up with like the Battle Royale net collar thing. So Captain Boomerang is like, oh, and immediately runs off, and like, of course he comes back later, but like it's like a funny, cool moment. And there are a lot of things about the movie I did not like. Like, it was never going to be my favorite movie of the year, and that's if there weren't like 2 or 3 others that I completely love to death besides it. You know, just like some movies, like movies that I would consider like I liked because of how good they were, but there are other movies that I liked because of, like, in comparison, like if I was choosing my best one, and you know, it might be the least bad one, you know what I mean? But so like even with its problems, Suicide Squad was still a great surprise that I was really happy with. So the opposite of best surprise comes the biggest disappointment, and that was, like I said, the opposite. The movie that I was most looking forward to, and ended up being just an awful, agonizing, well, no, that both words are too strong. Well, an awful, agonizing disappointment, not necessarily an awful, agonizing failure. That movie is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I don't hate it. It's one of my favorite film Batmans ever, as far as the specific character of Batman. Specifically, the specific character of Bruce Wayne, if I'm honest. I think it does so many things really well that I really do like it, but I wanted so much more, and there's so many things that are so stupid. Again, minor plot spoiler. So the reason that Batman and Superman decide to stop fighting is that they realize that both of their mothers are named Martha. And that's a bit silly, and it's just like, I don't know, just very disappointing. I did not like Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor at all. I thought that he was a bad choice, played it way more like the Joker or the Riddler than Lex. Like, I didn't like how he was just like a weird, like, weedy little kid. Yeah, honestly, that was one of my biggest problems with the movie. There are things about it that I liked, and things about it that I support. And I didn't hate it, like I said, and I'm very excited about like the solo Ben Affleck Batman movie that is apparently coming in 2018. Like, I will be first in line to see that, but not for me. I was very. It was for me though, you know, which is the real disappointment and the real problem is that I feel like the movie was. It could have been really something special, and ended up being just the biggest disappointment for me in 2016. So my favorite performance in a movie is our next superlative. So basically, this is my answer to like a best actor sort of thing, and it's just the performance that I appreciated the most in a movie. And the winner of this superlative is going to be Tom Holland as Spider-Man in Civil War. So I am extremely excited about the Tom Holland Spider-Man. I'm excited about Spider-Man Homecoming next year. And the reason for that is just his few scenes in Civil War are so damn good that they are one of the best parts of a movie that is already incredible. I cannot wait for Homecoming. Like, I love how he's a kid. And I love like how, like, normally I would not like this, but I like how he's like, he has a sense of fun, but he also is super nerdy. Like making the Star Wars jokes is really easy and simple. It's like, remember that really old movie? Like, but I like that he is a nerdy high school kid like he's supposed to be. My biggest problem with Andrew Garfield and the Amazing Spider-Man series is that he's already way too cool. Like, Peter Parker is supposed to be just like the biggest nerd loser in the world, and then he gets these amazing powers. It's about how he can react to that change and how the world can react to that change is our story. But Andrew Garfield is already, like Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy is already interested in him. He already is a skateboarder. He already stands up to the bullies. He already is like tough and like already has his moral center. Well, I mean, I guess he would have that either way, but I think I'm making my point where I'm not feeling it with Andrew Garfield at all. I feel like he's way too cool. I mean, he's already good looking, but Tom Holland is obviously a nerdy little kid. His short little scenes are just so good that, like I said, even though Civil War is amazing, probably, I mean, definitely in my top 5 for the year, although it did not get the top spot, it's still like was easily a stand-up performance to me. Some other ones that I would consider were Ben Affleck as Batman. Like I said, my favorite film Batman by a long shot. Alan Tudyk as K2SO in Rogue One, just for lending a lot of character to a droid, and making easily the stand-up memorable character from Rogue One. I can't remember the actor's name. That's unfortunate. But the guy that plays Jacob in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. He was also in Fanboys. I think it's like a Noel or N something. I can't remember though. That's unfortunate. This is actually all off the. I have my list of my awards and winners, but talking about runners-up is all just off the top of the head. So I cannot remember the actor's name, but that's another role that I quite considered. But yeah, best performance goes to Tom Holland as Spider-Man in Civil War. So the next 2 awards, well, we'll take them as they come. So my favorite music, some of you may know my degree in college was in music. Music is very important to me, and that would be my ultimate dream job, which would be to compose film scores. So music is something I pay attention to in every single movie. So this is an award I consider quite prestigious and important. There are a lot of movies I considered for this. I thought Finding Dory had a really good score that really harkened back to Nemo, but added its own flavor. The same could be said of Michael Giacchino's score in Rogue One, where he wasn't afraid to use the John Williams stuff, but he also wasn't afraid to be himself and make his own mark on Star Wars music. That was really good. But the winner is Kubo and the Two Strings. So Kubo and the Two Strings almost won Best Surprise. It was only because it was better than I had ever hoped it could be, but it looked better than Suicide Squad did in the first place. So yeah, that kind of DQ'd it, I suppose. But Kubo and the Two Strings had an amazing score, like lots of instrumentals, lots of cool percussion. It did something that I haven't seen in forever, and it had memorable themes that you were humming as you left the theater. It had themes for characters, themes for events. So many movies, like Suicide Squad, which, I mean, I don't hate it, but it relies so heavily on using popular music. And it can be effective for certain scenes, but like when it's so on the nose and obvious as it is in Suicide Squad, like it's a little bit much, right? And another huge contender for this, and honestly, maybe even the real winner, because it is so good, is Fantastic Beasts score. It's a very close runner-up. I would say the only reason I would still give the nod to Kubo is that although there is music in Fantastic Beasts that I like better, specifically like when it gets all 20s jazzy, it plays earlier in the movie, I know, but like right at the end when Jacob's kind of walking away, it hits it again, just like with the slow, easy jazz club sort of stuff, and it's just so good, and just it's the music I hear when I think about that time in New York. So yeah, very close, but so even though that's my favorite music I've heard in a movie this year, Kubo had more consistently good music throughout. So Kubo and the Two Strings is the winner for my favorite music, or my favorite score in a movie this year. Kubo and the Two Strings is also the winner for most original. So in a world where there are so many sequels and reimaginings and reboots and soft reboots and prequels and all of that, and a world where I genuinely you know, usually quite appreciate those and love them. You know, like I am not a person like I mean, The Empire Strikes Back is one of The Dark Knight. You know, both, or at least my favorite movies of all time, are sequels. So I'm not going to discount the power of sequels. Or Rogue One is a prequel and it's amazing, but I still appreciate something original. And while Kubo and the Two Strings definitely, you know, has a lot to thank for just Japanese tradition and, you know, a million different folklores and myths with like a similar setup, but just the way it presents itself, the art of its world, like the risk it's willing to take in building its characters and building its world, building its challenges, and just like the literal uniqueness of it when you look at it, like seeing such huge like animatronics for stop motion, and just this was a team that wanted to make a gorgeous movie that would be memorable and original, and it succeeds it in such a huge way. Kubo and the Two Strings is probably is another one that I would say is in my top 5 of the year. I might try to do a list before I say my overall favorite towards the end of this video, but Kubo would definitely be on there. An easy winner for my favorite original movie of the year. So this next category is what I'm calling the best DVD of the year, and this award is basically for movies that came out in 2016 that I missed in theaters for one reason or another, but picked up on DVD and later watched. So there are 3 contenders for this award. There are 3 movies that I wanted to see in theaters but didn't, but then got on DVD and watched that way. So the 3 contenders are Zootopia, Finding Dory, and Ghostbusters 2016. Ghostbusters Answer the Call, as I believe it is officially known nowadays. Ghostbusters Answer the Call I did not like very much at all. I think it just is not funny. I didn't really crack a smile throughout the movie. I think it both tried too hard to be different and tried too hard to be the same as the original Ghostbusters. Big disappointment. And like when it had so much flack and so much going up against it. Like I really wish it had taken the time to make sure that it had the legs to stand on. Finding Dory I thought was very, very good. A very emotional, like I said earlier, it has really, really good music. Very sad, but not quite there. Like it's probably, I would say it's my favorite Pixar sequel outside of Toy Story, which I mean is basically saying it's better than Monsters University and Cars 2, which is not a high bar to climb, but you know, whatever. I would still say that, and I did like it a lot, but the easy choice for best DVD was Zootopia, which was incredible. Zootopia also would probably be on my top 5 of the year. Inventive, creative, daring. Like, it told a story, like, the story took twists and turns I did not expect. Memorable, likable characters. Like, this makes me want to go watch it again. And that's not something I could say about Finding Dory, even though I really liked it. And certainly not about Ghostbusters 2016. So yeah, Zootopia, you probably have seen or heard about it by now, but if not, totally go check it out. I regret not seeing such a colorful, beautiful movie in theaters. But at least I made up on it, and it's easily the best new movie I saw on DVD in 2016. So before we go, I'll try to do like a top 5 and wrap up with my favorite overall movie of the year. I want to talk about the Tarnished Legacy Award, or Superlative, or whatever, DIS. And this is a movie that was a reboot, remake, sequel, prequel, like related, basically the opposite of most original. And not only is it the least original, it's also bad, where I feel like it was so bad, like I'm just disgusted at the whole thought of it. And a lot of people would disagree because they thought it got good ratings, it did well in theaters, but I even reviewed it relatively high. But my answer is Jungle Book. I thought Jungle Book had no creative soul. I think Jungle Book was very commercial, very produced, and it's so disappointing. The most creative thing it did was when it had Christopher Walken as King Louie as a Gigantopithecus. They added a few new verses to the King Louie song, talking about how he is now a Gigantopithecus, which they kind of needed to do. That was the most creative, interesting, fun thing that this movie had to say for itself. Everything else that was good was because it was the exact same as the original. The only other thing was it had very, very good digital effects. Very, very good. Like, to the point where I almost considered it for art direction alongside Doctor Strange and Kubo. But a very, very disappointing. Very, like, I saw it in theaters. Like, I wanted to go see. I think it was the same time as Zootopia. I feel like it was. Like we chose, and yeah, super, super disappointing. I do not feel like it was something that the world needed. And even though other people really appreciated it, I was not one of them. And I hope that Disney has learned a lesson about being more creative, having more, wanting more than just to make money from the movie. Like yeah, remember Jungle Book was exactly how I felt about Jungle Book 2016. And again, I didn't hate it. Like, I wasn't sad that I saw it, but I need more. I need more than that. As we continue with these live-action Disney movies, I'm very excited about Beauty and the Beast, and I do feel like it's going to buck the trend started by this Jungle Book movie. Just in that we know that there's going to be new songs, like songs that were left on the cutting room floor from the original, like, which will be cool. Like, I have hope that it will have more to say, that it'll have more to add to the legend of its original than this new Jungle Book did, which was Gigantopithecus. Okay, so to wrap up, let's do my top 5 of 2016. And again, this is kind of off the top of the head. I would say, and the number 1 is my number 1 favorite of the year, but the others will not be in order. I would say Zootopia, Captain America: Civil War, Doctor Strange, and Kubo were my 4 other favorites. I would say, like, I could put them in order. Doctor Strange would be 5th. Zootopia would be, no, Civil War would be 4th. Zootopia would be 3rd. Kubo would be 2nd. Probably, I would say. And the winner of my favorite overall movie of the year was Rogue One. Rogue One, I mean, the last, like 3 or 4 war stories ago, I can't remember how my schedule works out right now, was 40 minutes of me, Science Sentry, Holy Diver, and Iceman just going on and on and on about how amazing and wonderful and perfect we thought that Rogue One was. So if you haven't watched that video, definitely check it out, because I basically say it all there. It is the opposite of Jungle Book, where it builds on and enhances the legacy of one of the most legendary and appreciated movies of all time, and it deserves that appreciation. I love so many of the choices it makes. I love how daring it is, and how like, we don't like, Disney did not have to be as brave as they were. They did not have to okay, so plot spoilers for Rogue One starting now. They didn't have to kill everybody. They could have figured out a way, oh, they made it off planet, but they just never showed up again. No, they knew what they had to do. They knew they had to. Everyone died. This is about a rebellion. Well, they didn't make it about the Jedi. They didn't make it about, really about one person. They made it about the struggle. The struggle of many against, you know, the few against the many. You know, just of trying their best to defeat the Empire once and for all. Well, I mean, to get the Death Star plan. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm struggling in the game. I honestly want to just pause it so I can talk, but we will keep on keeping on. Yeah, the struggle, like what it really took for Leia to get those plans in the first place. The story that was never told before, but a story that needed to be told. And I love the ending. Of course, a lot has been said about how great the ending is. I don't know. It's super, super, super good. I really, I don't know what else to say about it without getting more into spoilers, but, like, of course, the ending scene I loved. I just love Rogue One. I think it was awesome, and that's why it was my favorite movie of 2016. So congratulations to all the winners of the prestigious Full Instance Superlative Awards, both for films and for video games and wrestling. Thank you to Iceman for joining me for the WWE Superlatives. I think that made that episode more interesting. And thank you for watching War Stories in 2016. War Stories is one of my favorite series to do. It's typically among my more popular content, and I always appreciate all the feedback, views, likes, comments, all that good stuff. And if you have enjoyed, please consider subscribing to the Full and Sense channel. War Stories will continue into 2016. Probably still, I've actually considered moving it to being Monday, Wednesday, just so I could get the movie reviews out sooner. Because like movies come out on Friday, and then I don't actually have the video until the following Tuesday, which is a while. So so it's possible that that I would do that, but one way or another, War Stories will be back in 2017, and I hope you are too. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. I don't know about you.